Hi, everyone. Welcome to Learner. My name is Clifton Hartsoff. I'm going to be going through one of the 21 courses that we presently have available in Learner. If you're new, welcome. If you know us already, we might have a few surprises for you, so stick around for the next 10 or 15 minutes or so. So Learner is an adaptive courseware based on the OpenStax program developed out of Rice University. The advantage to it is the initial courses are free. The disadvantage, they are PDF, they have limited amounts of questions, and there isn't a lot of interaction built into them. So if you're looking for an OpenStax based alternative that's very affordable for students, Learner is a great option. So what I'm going to show you now is the OpenStax based Learner powered anatomy and physiology labs. Had a little bit of a hiccup there. So when you log into Learner, you can see these are all of the courses. Important thing to note, if you happen to be running a department or even an entire university or college, all of these courses are now available in a library model. The advantage there is one student can subscribe for $80 and all of the courses are available to them throughout the semester. So if they are in 3 courses that Learner provides, same price. There's nothing additional. We call that the library model. Happy to share more with you about that if you have some interest. You can drop a comment down below or feel free to contact us at learnfast.com and we'd be happy to get right back to you. So I'm scrolling down here. I'm going to select Anatomy and Physiology Labs, bring that up. Now, the genius of Learner is that it is an adaptive courseware. So they've taken those initial somewhat sparse PDFs, and they've added on a lot of layers of technology and learning help. So when you first enter the program, you'll notice all of these different buttons. So we have learn, practice, quizzes, assignments. They're fairly straightforward. Reports, flashcards, activities. So at this time, Anatomy and Physiology has thousands of practice questions, hundreds of individual quizzes and tests, and a lot of customization is possible with all of that content. Now, you might be asking yourself right about this moment, how hard is it to get set up? Actually, we've thought a lot about that. And faculty members and schools we've worked with, one thing that has always come through in our conversations, faculty members really want to customize to their specifications. They know what they want to teach, they know how they want to teach it, and we are there to help them. So when we onboard a school, the first thing we do is ask the faculty or instructor, what specific areas of a subject do you want to teach? Then we upload those in advance into their environment so they have it ready on day one. From there, they can customize things going forward. But it's really important for us that they have exactly what they need because every school, every instructor, and therefore every student obviously is different. So we want to be as individual as possible and enable the learning needs. So let's look into some of the interesting stuff in here. Many of the things you'll notice and learn pretty standard. It will even look familiar because it is based on OpenStax. But we've done a couple of fun things that you probably didn't expect. First thing, these table of contents. These are all clickable so that you can go through and select different ones if you like and jump between them, even into the sub versions, sub chapters there. And the other thing that's really helpful is you have the opportunity to just scroll down and the content, if it is accented, that content will change. So here we have central and peripheral nervous system. This one is histological cross sections. So if I click on that, now that is not something available in OpenStax. That is something that we have added in after the fact and enhanced, among many other things. So you can dock this, or you can pop it out so you have it for later reference as you're studying. The other thing that which is really helpful for students is on the right here we have two things: smart content and annotations. So the smart content is activities, it's practice quizzes, it's a way of diving deeper into the subject so that you really get a full spectrum understanding of the subject itself. So as you're scrolling down, you'll probably notice that the smart content will begin to change based on where you are in the different chapters. So there it goes, just changed right there. So we have glossary, fill in the blanks, practice questions, satellite cells. And then the other thing, which is extremely helpful, especially when you get closer to exam time, if you're a student, they're able to select like so, and then annotate. So they can add a bookmark or a note. And as they're doing that throughout the course, that actually allows the annotations live here, and then they can go back and they can see them. So I'll go here and I'll mark that as yellow. And so that means as I'm going back and doing my reviews, I always have that as available as an option, which is pretty fantastic. So on top of those things, in especially anatomy and physiology is where Learner really shines. We've spent the most amount of time on it, and we have accented it and created new things on top of it. And it really shows when you're looking through here. So we'll jump over to activities so you get a sense of that. Let's see here. It's a good one. I like the skeletal ones. Bones of the head, trunk, and thoracic activity. So if we preview this activity, we can jump straight in. Bones of the head, trunk, and thoracic activity. So this is actually a overview of the different questions, and you can see the questions as you click on them. This is the answers. Show answer here, a s just a static image, and then the student is supposed to go through and do the order so that they are labeling each of the parts of it correctly. So that's an activity, and let me jump over to something that looks a little bit more interesting. Okay, so 3D bones is good. So if we preview 3D bones, this will be helpful. Click on that. So select the following: a bone of the skull that doesn't connect to other skull components through a suture. Now this is a three-dimensional activity, so we're able to move things around, up and down, and also the change parts of it as well. So we can actually draw the bones back, and if there is any tissue, we can also do the same here. But obviously, this being bone, there's no tissue, so we can't do that. But if you're trying to get a greater sense of the interiors of the skull and this structure, it's very useful for that. So if we show solution, the mandible is the only movable bone in the skull. It joins the skull by the temporomandibular joint. I'm using it a lot right now. So that is a really helpful question. So as you can see, these questions have a lot of depth. They also have great visuals, three-dimensional, two-dimensional. It goes two-dimensional to three-dimensional, and we also have cadaver mixed in with the three-dimensional as well. And I'll show you a cadaver here. Open that. Let's grab this one right here. Select the following: a spongy bone of the skull that is present on the roof of the nose and is part of the orbit. And as the student is looking, they can look around. Oh, this one is just two-dimensional. So the model can be switched between a model and a cadaver. So this is what a cadaver looks like. This is what a model looks like. And then you can actually show the solution because we are in that mode. So those are some of the additional things that have been layered on top of OpenStax. There's a very wide variety of them. And as you're going through and you're building, for example, practice quizzes or even tests, you're able to either create your own tests, or you can also use one of the many hundreds or thousands of questions that we have already pre-built on top of the OpenStax ones. And there's a lot of them. If you've ever used any of the OpenStax before, you're probably aware that OpenStax questions are often available online. Students will find them, they'll be able to use them either for study purposes or for other purposes that they're not supposed to. But we have reduced that problem as much as possible by generating our own and also giving you the ability to generate your own questions in a simple manner. And so the questions that you create, those reside in my bank. think we have a few pre-made ones here. Let's see. Microbes. Yes. Okay. So this is a microbe, COVID-19, to be topical and at the moment. And two elements of this picture were actually highlighted and created. And the person created a question from it. So is a virus a microbe? They highlighted the two regions, and so basically any image that you'd want to bring into from this domain, you can create a question from, and then answer bank, and add that to your answer bank. So it's very flexible. You can use a lot of the hundreds or thousands of questions that we've developed, or you can create your own, depending on how much you really want to do that. Another nice thing about our content is that once you have created it, we allow the faculty to actually help each other by sharing it. So what you're able to do is you're able to actually share it across class sections, or you can create templates up here, and then these templates can be duplicated or they can be assigned, and they can be shared with other members of the department so they can then use them on in their classrooms. In addition to that, as we're doing onboarding, we're very specific about providing materials that each faculty member requests while setting up their courses. So we can customize to a great degree there as well. And of course, your gradebook is built in right here. So a few things to notice about the gradebook. You can click here. You can adjust the scores if you need to. In this case, the student Yona took a quiz here. We can also see, it looks like not from the grade book. Um, we can also see more detailed information about what the student did as well. I think that's in a different section. That's probably under reports, though. Let me go back to see if I can pull that up real quick. Yeah, okay. So, overview report. So, if you click here, show details, then that will bring up the quizzes. In this case, there's only 2 quizzes complete. Overview of the topics that the student has mastered. So this student has bones of the head, trunk, thoracic activity, 10 out of 10. That's good. And it gives you a sense of where they might need further review. So if you're going to create new content, finding the places where they haven't quite mastered, or perhaps combining that into a final semester quiz or exam, that might be helpful to know. And then there's topics that need to be redone. We don't have enough data there for that. So as you can see, the initial information provided by OpenStax has been massively upscaled with a lot of helpful things, both from the instructor perspective and also the student's perspective. And with the library model, it becomes very inexpensive to deploy many of these courses. And if you were to follow us on YouTube, we will be doing live streams pretty regularly going forward. Because we have a large number of courses, as you can see right here, most of these are new or unknown, and we're just starting to share them and explain how they can really help students. So be sure to tune in over the next couple of weeks as we explore each of these subjects, explain how Learner is able to provide it at a great price for students, and also a very convenient way for professors and faculty to teach with it. If you have any questions, you feel free to drop a question, to drop a comment on this in the underneath the video, and you can also reach us at learnfast.com. We're available 24/7 via chat. Thanks for stopping by.
Hey,
Hey, just turning off the recording.